In studio, we have Lucy. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm excellent myself, thank you. Now, you are from Valley Strong Credit Union. And what is your role with the credit union?
I am actually a business banker, so I help small to medium-sized businesses with their lending and cash management needs.
So if I wanted to start a business, I would come to you, or once I have a business, I go talk with you?
Preferably, my target client is an established business that's been in business for a minimum of 2 years.
Okay. And all right, so we're going to talk about how to start businesses and once you're up and going, some of the things like that. How did you first of all get involved with the credit union?
Well, I've actually been in banking my entire life.
Okay.
Fun fact, I wanted to be a banker since I was about 5 years old.
Why?
That was back in the career teller days when everybody dressed up, and it was just the environment that I wanted to be in.
Okay.
And so at 18, I became a teller for a large bank and have been in the industry ever since.
Oh, good. I know another guy that I work with, and he actually was in banking also, and he worked at a bank and was a teller. And he's very particular about the bills and things like that. So were you the same way also? And
yes, always like the faces facing the same way. And
I can see, the reason behind that, right? Because otherwise it's messy and things like that. But it seems like nowadays there aren't as many tellers because there's a lot of people that do things online, or they do an ATM, things like that. But I personally always, I'll tell you this right now, I always go into the credit union because I like dealing with people and the people behind the counter like that. So
yes, and we love to see you as well. But yeah, banking has changed quite a bit. So.
Indeed, but thank you for still having that service available for me.
Absolutely.
All right, so how to start a business. So let's talk about what we're going to look at today.
Yes, so it's, one of the most common questions that we get is, how to start a business and how to fund a business. And so, a few principles that obviously we want to establish when you're thinking about starting a business is, what is the purpose of it? What need does it feel? What does your product or service do? Who's your target client and market? And of course, what are the action items that you need to take to make this happen? So one of those things is market research. So we all have to do our homework whenever we're gonna, start a business. So one thing you're gonna, research your product and other replacements to your product or service. Again, the industry, market conditions. So the economic cycle is important to knowing, when to start a business. You have to research your competitors. Barriers to entry are also important. How easy or difficult is it to start this type of industry?
So Lucy, before you keep going, I'm going to stop you right there with the research, the barriers to entry, because you said that you mainly work with businesses that have been in business for a couple of years and are kind of already established. Are there instances where you've come across where they've been in business for a few years, but now there are barriers coming up and they have to modify to get into something else?
Yes. So, as business climate changes, they may have to adapt. Like, for example, when COVID happened, their product may become obsolete, or there may be a need for, all of a sudden face masks or protection. Right. So, they need financing to switch gears, if you will, to that new product or service. Gotcha. To meet the demand of the market conditions.
Okay, because I was going to say, a lot of times it's great if the way you started, everything keeps going smoothly, but it seems like there's going to be hiccups in the road every once in a while also.
Always. Yes, there's different stages in the growth of a business. As a credit union, we do open accounts for businesses that are brand new, and we're able to offer some small lending up to $25,000. So we are able to at least help get them on their feet. But again, for any of the larger lending that I specialize in, it would be a business that's 2 years and over.
All right, well, I'll let you keep going.
Also, it's important to determine, the business structure that you're going to form. I always send my clients and refer them to their CPA and their attorney for guidance on this. Each different business will benefit for some of the pros and cons of the different business entities. Location, obviously, different states have, more favorable regulations, so that could be important depending on what type of business you're starting as well. And again, the most popular question is, how do I fund my business? It's going to be self-funding, whether it's your 401k, your home equity loan, your personal savings. So you've got to have skin in the game in order to start that business. Or if you have, a rich uncle, a family member, friends, investors, crowdfunding, that type of thing. And then there are some government grants and micro lending available, kind of like I mentioned, the $25,000. But depending on the type of business, if you need additional capital, those are the kind of things.
Well, it's nice you say you need to have a little skin in the game and a little family member and stuff like that. So there's always somebody willing and ready to lend you a helping hand, let's say, at different percentage rates.
Yes.
But we'll continue on.
Yep. Yep. And then marketing, of course, that's also an important decision that you have to research based on your business, product, or service, whether it be social media or print, commercials, etc. And then finally, you have to, finally roll up your sleeves and design your prototypes, test your product or service. That's where your friends and family, neighbors are going to come in handy, and get feedback from others. Again, do some financial projections and break-even analysis to see, how your product's going to fare and pricing, etc. And then again, you brought that up earlier, but we've got to properly plan for growth. Sometimes businesses grow too fast and they run out of money, so that's one reason that businesses fail. And then form your leadership team and establish key roles. And again, these aren't exactly in chronological order. You're going to do these things as you go and form your business.
All right, nicely done. So come on back over here, Lucy. I've got some more questions for you now.
Sure.
So one thing you said was figure out how you're going to market the business, and you spoke a little bit about social media. Do you think it's possible for somebody to start a business, or even if they're established right now, a year or two, to be very successful without social media?
I think it's tough in today's environment. That's one of the marketplaces that a lot of consumers, go to and are on. So I think it's possible, but it's a
more challenging,
great,
I would imagine,
yes.
right? A little bit more difficult, because I was just thinking, let's say you're over 50, right? You probably didn't use as much social media as somebody that is 20 or 30 right now. So they would be more adept at it and things like that. So I would think that you might want to partner with somebody that could take care of that part to help the business grow. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, yes. And that kind of goes back to what I mentioned, is who's your target market or client. So again, depending on what your product or service is going to determine your marketing strategy that's going to be best, reach your target client.
And what would you say if somebody wanted to start a business and I say, you know what, I want to sell whatever furniture it is that I'm making? Is there kind of a base where you go, you need this amount of money to kind of start?
We don't have the expertise necessarily to provide that advice. So when I have a new business starting out, I'll often refer them to the SBDC.
Okay,
so
then they'll help them as far as the price, and then you help them as far as getting that to get started.
Yes, with the lending piece.
Nicely done. So I know you're with Kern Schools Federal Credit Union, and a lot of times people get PINs. All right, Valley Strong Credit Union. Oh, I was thinking of Kern County Superintendent of Schools Office. So we're mixing both of them. You know what, Bo? You guys have been partners with us for a long time, so it's like we're kind of together.
Yes,
anyway.
we're all in one.
So anyway, we want to say thank you for coming in, talking to us about starting a business right there, and just to do the math pin for you right there.
Thank you.
So when you put that on there, you can go around town and tell everybody that you're a star of the show now. You good with that?
I will. I'd be glad to. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Lucy, for coming in. We'll be back with more right after this.